Have you ever truly waited for a friend? I mean, really waited? Not just, checking your phone for a text. I'm talking about that deep, soulful kind of waiting. That feeling where every person you see in the distance gives you a little flicker of hope. It's a mix of patience and this beautiful, quiet ache. It's a feeling maybe we're losing touch with, but it's been captured so perfectly for centuries.
Just take a second and picture this. A soft spring day. The air is warm and these little willow catkins are just floating around, kind of like springtime snow. This is the exact mood, the exact atmosphere where our whole story begins.
And that feeling, that quiet art of waiting, is exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're going to see how a magnificent classical Korean poem can unlock some pretty deep wisdom about it. Because this is about more than just poetry. It's about a timeless human experience.
The piece we're looking at is called Dae-in, and it was written by the poet Choe Sa-rip. It's a type of poem known as hansi, which is really cool because it uses Chinese characters, which are called hanja in Korean, to pack an incredible amount of meaning and imagery into just a few words.
Okay, so before we can really feel the poem's emotional punch, we need to understand how it's built. We're going to start with the absolute basics, the title itself. You'll see how just 2 characters can set the entire stage. So the first character in the title is this one right here. In Korean, we pronounce it Dae, and its meaning is just so simple and powerful, to wait or to anticipate. Isn't that amazing? This one single character holds the entire theme of the poem. The second character is this one, pronounced in, and it simply means person or people. So you put them together, Dae-in, and you get the beautifully direct title, Waiting for a Person. That's it. That's our starting point, and now we can step right into the world of the poem. All right, let's get into the poem itself. We're going to start with the first couple of lines, which just masterfully paint a picture of where our poet is and what he's doing. This is the very first line, written in its original hanja. Just look at it. Even before you know what the words mean, you can see this elegance to the characters themselves, right? It's like a painting. So let's decode this beautiful line together. Okay, let's break it down character by character. We start with Cheon-su-mun. That's the name of a gate, Cheonsu Gate. Then we have Jeon, which means in front of. And here's where it gets really poetic. Ryu-so, meaning willow catkins, and B, to fly. Can you start to see that image forming in your mind? You put all of that together, and you get this beautiful, peaceful image. Before Cheonsu Gate, willow catkins fly. It's so simple, but it sets up this perfectly serene, almost meditative mood for the act of waiting. Now, let's look at the second line, which tells us exactly why our poet is hanging out by the gate. So let's look at these characters. Ilho means a single flask. Rei means to come. And hey, look, there are title characters again. Dae, to wait, and in, person. But notice this little addition. Go, which means old or former. So, go-in isn't just any person, it's an old friend. The line ends with gui, to return. This is starting to feel really personal, isn't it? And this line brings it all together. With a single flask, I come to wait for an old friend's return. The scene is now totally complete. We've got this quiet gate, the drifting willow fluff, and a person waiting patiently with a simple gesture of friendship for someone they clearly care a whole lot about. This ilho, this single flask, is so much more than just an object in this scene. It's a really powerful symbol. This isn't about some big, fancy party. It represents a simple, humble, but deeply sincere friendship. It's about that quiet joy of just sharing a moment. It really speaks to a kind of sarang or love and peryo consideration that's just pure and genuine. Okay, so the external scene is set, but now the poem shifts. It pulls the focus away from the world around the poet and takes us right into his internal experience. And this is where we really start to feel the intensity of his waiting. This is the third line, and honestly, it might be the most powerful one in the whole poem. It's all about the poet's gaze. Let's walk through this one. On is the eye. Then you get this incredible verb, cheon, which means to pierce or to penetrate. Just imagine that feeling. Rakyel means the setting sun, so time is passing, right? Jangjang is a long journey or a long road, really emphasizing the distance. And finally, man, which means late or evening. The day is almost over. So what does that all mean? It means this. My eyes pierce the setting sun on the long, late road. I mean, wow. This is not just looking. This is a gaze that is so intense, so full of longing, it feels like it could literally bore a hole through the horizon. It's the perfect way to describe that desperate focus of someone waiting as the day fades into night.
So we've seen the setting, we've felt that intense waiting. Now, the final line hits us with the psychological toll of it all, the little trick that a hopeful, longing heart plays on the mind.
And here it is, the final line. This is the poem's emotional climax. It's a real gut punch of hope and disappointment, all packed into just 7 characters. This slide really breaks down the heartbreaking cycle of this line. The characters basically describe seeing many travelers who get close, only to realize they are not the one. So you get this painful loop happening in the poet's heart. You see a shape in the distance, and you get that jolt of hope. Is that them? Could it be? Your heart leaps, but as the person gets closer, reality sinks in. Nope, just another stranger. And that happens again and again and again. And that's what makes this poem so incredibly human. It's a deep dive into the psychology of waiting. When you want something that badly, your heart just becomes hypersensitive, you know? Every little movement, every distant shape becomes a source of potential joy, which only makes the disappointment that follows feel even sharper. So, after all that, what can a poem from centuries ago really teach us? Let's try to connect these ancient feelings to the kind of wisdom they might offer us right here, right now. This poem, in its quiet, simple observation, actually offers us some profound lessons. It's not just about being sad while you wait. It's about the virtues that waiting can reveal. It teaches us about real patience. It shows us the depth of a sincere friendship, that sarang and beryo, that love and consideration that makes a long wait totally worth it. It celebrates Pyongan, the tranquility you can find in hangul, or quiet solitude. And maybe most of all, it reminds us to have gamsa, or gratitude, for the human connections that are so powerful they make us willing to wait in the first place. Which brings us to a final thought. We live in a world of instant replies and scene notifications, but in gaining all that speed, I wonder if we've lost something important. Have we forgotten the beautiful ache of true anticipation and what it reveals about who and what we truly value in our lives?